Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. We're talking all about Big Brother 26, last night's episode, live feed spoilers. We're going to roast it. We're going to recap it. So hopefully you're wearing something comfy. Grab something to drink and let's get started.
If you like what you see, come and get it with me. I know you deserve all you want. 'Cause your heart's made of gold, but don't wait till you're old. If you want it, I get you some.
Welcome to the Big Brother Breakdown with Joleen. Welcome to the BB Breakdown with Joleen. That's me. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, stand-up comedian and pop culture vulture and Big Brother superfan, Joleen Lunzer, here to talk all about Big Brother 26, which is in full effect. We are in the first week of Big Brother, you guys, and we have so much to talk about. We had episode 3 last night. We're going to roast it. We're going to recap it. We'll take a comedic look like I do over here. Remember, I am very opinionated. I'm a comedian, but that doesn't mean you have to agree with me. You can have your opinions in the chat. Just because I am roasting up a certain house guest or they're not my favorite doesn't mean they can't be yours. All opinions regarding the show are welcome over here, as long as we're not being hateful little bungholes. We can all share our opinions. All right.
Y'all ready to laugh?
Yes, Tamar. Are you all ready to laugh? I am ready to laugh. And we had an episode last night, which we got to know the house guests. Those of us who have been watching the feeds, we know the house guests. Somewhat, a little better than maybe the casual fan, but we got to know who was the HOH, or as superfan Jerry O'Connell says, the H of H.
You know, it was really fun to see him win H of H, and sort of get his, to hear he's in it.
To hear that's superfan Jerry O'Connell. He's killing it. All right. He just knows so much more than we do. I love when they find the celebrity super fans of a show that we're very invested in. And Jerry O'Connell clearly is not as invested as the rest of us. Or maybe he's so invested, he's beyond. Okay. A couple of YouTube things to get out of the way. Make sure you guys hit that like. Let's set a like goal for 600. You guys have been killing it on the likes. Thank you so much. Also subscribe. You guys, we hit 40,000 subscribers last week. We are now 40,000, like 300 subscribers. So we are just soaring into the 40s, just like me. And I want to thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart. It is so fun to see new and old friends here of the Lean team. And we have Robin C. Robin C is my first ever Patreon supporter, and I will never forget that. And your profile picture is looking real good, girl. So welcome. So good to see you. And if you want to support the channel further, you can do what Robin C did. You can join my Patreon. You can join my YouTube membership. You can send a super chat while we're live. I'll highlight your comment. We can talk about it. You can do a super thanks after the video posts. And thank you to those of you who have hit me up on the Venmo, PayPal, Cash App. I appreciate that. Also, I want to give a shout out to Gina B. She sent me a package like a month ago, and then I went to Minnesota. I had the kids here. It was a whole thing. So Gina B has, I think her business is called June Baby Creative Designs. And she has sent me things in the past, like t-shirts and stuff she's designed, her and her mom. And they're so talented, you guys. And they sent me this. Who wouldn't buy this? Look at this cup, you guys, that they sent me. How great is this? While I'm watching live feeds, I love these kind of, cold beverage, hot beverage cups. They bedazzled the top of it. I'm just like, and look at all my favorite little pumpkin spice, beautiful. And this is how talented the Lean team is. So talented people are. This is crazy. If I could do something like this, I don't even know if I had talent like that. And then she also designed me 2 t-shirts, and I'm obsessed. I wore the other one yesterday. My first one is, I'm going to just stand up and show you guys the design. It's a cat mom t-shirt with like cute coffee stuff. Look at this, you guys. How cute is that? How cute is that? And then yesterday's was a dog mom. So I am obsessed. So if you need any design things, I don't know if Gina is here, but I got to pull up her website. But if you go to June Baby, or if you Google June Baby Creative Designs, this is the kind of stuff that they do. I mean, it's just so freaking adorable. I love it. Thank you so much. And I'm going to DM you back, Gina. I owe you a message. And shout out to your mom. But I love, this is so freaking, you guys are my little pumpkin spice babies, but beautiful pumpkin spice babies. It's just so cute. I just love cute stuff. As I gotta put this in here. It's like so pretty. I almost don't want to use it, but I will. As I drink my venti black tea lemonade. The cutest stuff, right? So cute. You guys send me the cutest stuff. If you ever have anything or a business you want me to talk about or take a look at, you can send me stuff to my P.O. box. My P.O. box information is in the description. Okay, let's get into it, right? It's so beautiful. I just can't believe how talented some people are, or most of you are just like insanely talented, and I wish I had that kind of talent. Yes, On the Side with TLC has been with me since the beginning, and TLC, thank you for being a member for 34 months. Says fun times with you from 0 to 40K. OGs rock. Yes, OGs so appreciated. New Gs, OGs, new school, old school, we're all appreciated here. What are you doing, Teddy? Come on, baby, you want a treat? Should we sit down? He's like, Dad's going to school and I want to see what's going on. Come here. Let's get a treat. Gotta take care of the doggo. Sit. Good boy. Oh, yes. And a lay down. You get 2. Where's Buffy? She's like, what about me, Mom? What about me? Here you go, honey bun. Throw one toward the other dude. And there we go. I'm a working dog and cat mom like many of you. All right. Let's talk about last night's episode. Feeds right now are down because they are, obviously there'll be spoilers and the episode recap. Feeds are down. I believe they are doing the POV ceremony. Okay. Yeah, they're doing the POV ceremony. And a lot of the house guests have been wondering, like, when do we do the POV ceremony? Like, when is it? They thought it was yesterday. A lot of them thought it was going to be Sunday. So I kind of like how Big Brother isn't telling them. I've noticed this on the feeds. Like, there's a lot of things these house guests might not know about just the process of Big Brother, which, we kind of expect that now. And so I like the Big Brothers keeping them on their toes with this, where they're not just being like, oh, no, you don't got to worry till Monday. They're learning in real time. And I think this is how it should be. If you do cast people and you and they don't know about the show, like, let them worry about it, because obviously this season has been Panic at the Disco, Panic at the BB house, lots of paranoia. And that, I think, has added them not knowing certain facts like this. Like, we know POV ceremonies are always Mondays. We know that the POV competitions are always Saturdays, and we know noms are always Fridays. But that's unless it's like a special week and there's, But we know that as fans. But seeing them not know it almost makes them, it heightens the paranoia. And this season so far, they have went in playing hard. So we're not seeing a lot of people sit back, and those people who might have sat back in the first couple days, they've been catapulted forward and forced to play because either they've been nominated with 3 nominees. Let me know what you guys think, but I actually am not hating some of the twists. I am not hating the fact that we found out last night. I didn't know until last night that basically, obviously, we are nominating 3 people. I knew that. But that they have a chance to pull themselves off with a traditional classic POV competition, which very classic Big Brother, great. Speaking of which, this young lady next to me, Lisa, won the POV on Saturday and will take herself off the block today during the POV ceremony. But then the HOH will then nominate, obviously, another person in her place. But then the 3 people stay on the block. It's not like a battle of the block situation where during the week they, they battle to see who gets off the block. No. They then have to wait. All 3 are on the block until Thursday. And right before, this is how I understand it, and feel free to correct me, but how Julie and they were describing it last night, is they all 3 stay on the block then till Thursday. And right before the live voting and eviction, they play in a competition called the arena, the BB, what is it, the AI arena, and then whoever wins that takes himself off the block, and then they vote. So really, you have to Kobe, yes, the POV. And yes, you guys were asking if I feel better. I'm finally starting to feel better, which is why I'm with you right now. So thank you for asking. So then they will vote out of the 2 left, which I think I like anything that forces them to stay on their toes, forces them to not have like as predictable of a week. Cause I know the weeks I hate of Big Brother are the seasons or when it's like, okay, we're voting out Tammy. Tammy's getting voted out. Well, obviously Tammy's not going to win the POV because those games are geared toward someone with abs or like super sporties. So Tammy will go home and then we'll just, Tammy's going home. Now it's like, we don't know if Tammy's going home because this season it seems like they took notes and they listened to viewers for the first time, really, without having to be like called out on a national scale. And they have been making more equitable competitions that people of all ages and sizes and can win so far. Okay, knock on all the wood, which is great because if you're going to have a cast that is age diverse and body type diverse, you should not have MTV challenge type competitions where you have to like hold heavy shit. And I mean, you can have those here and there, but not every competition. Like last season where Jag, you had to have a body type like Jag to basically win every competition. We're like, this is not fun. So they've done that. And now you also, these house guests can go, well, I think I'm going to vote Kenny. I think I'm going to vote Kenny. Let's say they're going to vote Kenny. But then if Kenny wins right before voting starts and the live eviction, then they got to scramble and be like, well, I guess I got to vote out, whoever else is on the block, whether it be Chemo or Matt or whoever her replacement nominee is today. So I kind of love that. Let me know if you guys love that. But I feel like they'll have to have the first person they're voting, and then they'll have to be like, well, we also have to be willing to, if that person takes himself off the block, vote one of the other two. So they'll have to have a second selection. And I think that'll cause, as far as twists go, I think this one might be interesting because I think that'll cause, a little more panic, a little more gameplay, people having to campaign and people having to stay on their toes, and a little less predictability, especially if we're having competitions that are equitable that anyone could win. I kind of like it. NYC Girl brings up a good point. I don't love it because we truly can't have a backdoor then. That is a fantastic point. And I think this is one of those things that we will have for a period of time, but then it'll disappear as the numbers dwindle. I kind of wish if they were going to do something like this, and I've always wished this about Big Brother, is that if you want to, in my opinion, accelerate gameplay and you want to really keep, make the weeks, especially towards the end, not as boring, I say you double up on the house guests and you just do 2 evictions a week and you really keep it moving. Keep it moving. And then they're on top of each other. Like it would be kind of a mess in the beginning, but I think maybe not double the players, but increase the players, multiple evictions every week. And that will keep us that's just my opinion. I would try it. But so I'm excited for this. But yeah, the backdoor option, I guess, you do eliminate that because they have a chance. Because the great thing about the backdoor is you're putting someone up during the POV ceremony and you're backdooring them where they have no chance to take themselves off the block. So they can't do that because you still have a chance to take yourself off the block. And Callie's saying backdoor's tired. So maybe there's a little bit of us that need a little change. I think I was in that. I see what NYC Girl is saying, but I also kind of agree with Callie here. It is a little tired because it's still like, oh, we're backdoor. And then you have freaking 5 days, like, or 4 days or whatever, you know what I mean? Of just sitting and waiting and just watching. So this adds a different element. Yeah, because the BB weeks, they're so long. And if you're going to have 90 days, 100-day seasons, you better up those players and you better do multiple, multiple, I should say, evictions every week. You should have 2 and keep these players on their toes. Yes, Joseph, perfect point. The weeks are only too long if we know who's leaving Thursday. And unfortunately, with the new school Big Brother trend of these huge alliances sweeping the house, voting with the house, they can get really long. So I think this was maybe Big Brother's way of putting a wrench in that, and we'll see how long it lasts, but I am here for it. Sean says, now I fear that when Quinn uses his power, the people he told are going to go ahead and tell I wish Quinn wouldn't have told anyone. We saw in last night's episode, he told Angela about his power, and now more people know. And then Mackenzie has told people about her powers. And I'm like, why can't these Big Brother players, I understand they're using it as currency, as leverage in the game, but why can't they ever just keep it quiet? It's kind of like last season's, just horrible secret silent HOH, when they made a competition that clearly you could predict who won. And then so everyone was like, they knew who it was. And then in BB Can, when they did this, I think we got the idea from BB Can. I feel like did it ever successfully like work where nobody knew? Because Spicy V got it one season. And then I don't remember who got it the other seasons. But I wish they could really keep it a secret, because I know it's hard and it's a social game and you're talking and that's all you have is, your words in that house basically. But I wish they could just keep it a secret. Keep it a secret. So, yeah, John's saying, yeah, I bet it's hard to keep a secret from people you want to, exactly, because you want to use it for leverage. You want to say, you can trust me. Look, I have this big power and we can use it together. You're a part of this. And I feel like that's what Quinn was doing. So getting back into the episode last night, we start to see, we get to know the house guests. They're getting, their rooms and stuff. And we start to see this weird dynamic and this, this adversarial, this, what's her face? Angela versus Matt thing happen. So we see early on when they moved in, because we didn't get first night feeds. Another reason we should have first night feeds is we see that Angela made a comment, which has been talked about on the feeds since they started early morning last Friday, and where Angela was commenting on Matt and his looks. And I was watching it with my husband, Hype Man Husband Chell, who will join us for a couple of casual corners. He is, if it's your first time on my channel, my husband is a super casual watcher of Big Brother. Obviously, he lives with me, so he's got to hear about it a lot. But we get the casual perspective, the person that isn't always watching the feeds, isn't always plugged into Twitter. What do they think? How are the episodes kind of edited in a way that can make viewers feel one way despite us watching live feeds? So we'll get that happening. But when he was watching, he was like, oh my God, she is being really passive aggressive to him. And I'm like, she really is. And it did in the beginning of this episode, as Angela was kind of coming at Matt saying, oh, you're so cute. And oh my God, you'll have a showmans. You're going to couple up. Again, Angela is using this information based on biases she had and based on patterns in Big Brother. We normally see the guys who look like this and the girls who look like Mackenzie hooking up and getting in. There's always, Grodner, she loves casting for showmances, and we know that. And Angela's not wrong. There is definitely a showman's BFF, soon to be touching genitals relationship happening between Mackenzie and Matt. They stay up every night. They're putting a target on their own back. And I guess they've been doing that since they moved in, where they've been staying up talking and everyone's like, oh, okay. So Angela's not wrong, but the way I think Angela disseminated the information in front of everyone and put it out there is what Matt was like, ugh. But also, I loved Chelsea in this episode, and it's just making me love Chelsea more and more, watching her on the feeds and then watching her in last night's episode, how she was like, oh, poor you. Because then Matt goes around to the whole house, even people who might not have thought it was that big of a deal, and he's retelling this like, yeah, she's saying I'm in a showmance. Oh my God. And then him and Mackenzie are joking about being on a showmance. It's like, you're putting more attention to this thing than just letting it go. And Chelsea's like, oh yeah, how rough. You're so attractive. And so Angela is like complimenting him, but in kind of like a way, like, oh, and he's like, oh, I just hate being put in this box where it's like, oh, you're just so attractive. And I want people to know me for my like personality. And it's like, is that 100% true? Because you can take care of yourself and have a great body and then still want to be known for your personality, but you don't have to have that tight of a six pack. Okay. When I'm working on my personality, I'm not working on I don't even think I've ever had a six pack, but I'm not putting that much into my, body, where there's a way where it's like healthy and God bless, do what you want to do. But also you want that attention because you got your shirt off all the time. You're playing with your hair. Like, come on. Yes, Kari. It's me. Kari says, yeah. The pretty prejudice. Like, it's so hard being so attractive. Ugh. What am I going to do? I just want to be known for my mind. Okay, well, then read more books and do less sit ups. I don't know what to tell you, sir. Yes, of course. Matt didn't like being outed in a showmance. Of course, who would? No one would. But this just evolved into something bigger. And we see that Angela and Matt, in the way that they are paranoid and in the scenarios they build in their head, they're very much alike. Because Angela is just, I mean, if you're watching the feed, she is a paranoid android. Like, she is just, she thinks she's having conversations in the HOH room thinking that people are doing these things and saying these things that they're not necessarily saying. And she's like, oh, he's talking to her. Oh, and he's saying this. And that's like not at all what they're talking about in the moment. Well, Matt's doing the same thing. He's assuming Angela's coming after him. So when Angela wins HOH, he's like, clearly she's going to put me up. Clearly. When she had no intention of putting him up. But he had already built the case. They both build a case in their head, which, you know, we're all guilty of in life, where he's like, she hates me. She's putting me up. And she's built a case. Oh, he's just like a random pretty boy, hot dude bro who's going to get in a showmance, coast along in the competitions, pair up with other young hot people. So they're all basically talking out of insecurities. He's insecure that he's just a pretty face and he's just gorgeous. Okay. And she's insecure that she's the old lady in the house and everyone is thinking she's stupid and going to get rid of her and plotting against her. So it's all these insecurities they bring in, all their biases, and also patterns they've seen happen on Big Brother. So it's not crazy that they're thinking this way, but the way they're behaving is starting to look crazy. So they have the HOH competition. Angela wins. I don't know, you guys that have watched BB Canada, this season is giving me a lot of BB Can vibes, from the casting in certain ways to and I know Robin Cass, who used to cast for Big Brother, casts for BB Canada, the now dearly departed BB Can, because they got rid of feeds. And what happened? And Big Brother, what are you doing? You're starting to get rid of certain things we love about feeds, and that it's not going to be good in the long run for your show, but okay, you can always change it. And I know she used to cast for us and we would be like, oh, but for some reason, you know, and that comes down to, we've talked about this before, the producers and, you know, Robin Cass might present a cast and they might go, no, we want, you know, Grodner and Rich Meehan might be like, no, we want this certain type. So she might give them what she thinks they want and what she thinks they need, and they might just pick what they think they want. And BB Can might have been more open to different house guests, but it feels that way. And last night's competition felt that way too. Even the look of it felt very BB Can. But yes, I loved the competition because it was so equitable, so fair, a lot of chance, a little bit technique, any age, any gender, anybody could have done that or won that. So I loved that for them. And I know the house guest didn't like it, but I liked how the rules kept changing in the game. So they didn't know what to expect. So they have to constantly be on their toes. And I like that. I think this is a game where, you know, you want these house guests. You don't want them to get bored, because then we get bored. You want them to be on their toes. Expect the unexpected is the damn tagline for the show. So let's keep this up, you know? So then Angela wins, and we saw a competitive streak in Angela, which was refreshing seeing someone older have that. It harkened back to like BB10, Jerry, even Rennie, people who are playing hard despite their age. Because we tend to see, you know, the older house guests, they come in at a disadvantage in that they don't usually have a peer or peers, plural. And the young kids are playing together. The competitions aren't suited for people in their age. And it can be a recipe for disaster. But Angela was like, girl, get it. Like, she's aggro, wants to win. And I love that for her, you know. But right away, you also see in last night's episode, she immediately gets labeled the mom. And she makes it a point to say, you know, I'm not just a mom. Like, I'm not here playing as a mom. Now, does she fall back and say she's a mom a lot on the feeds? Yeah, she does. But I think that's an important thing to bring up as well. Like this is why it's such a fun show to watch, sociology, psychology wise, because I think a lot of people, and especially moms, can feel, you hear this from women, I think more so than men, but I could be wrong, where they feel like defined by it. And just because you are a mother, that's not, it's the most important role, they say you'll ever have, but that doesn't define you as a person. You were a whole person before that, and you'll be a whole person once those kids are old enough and start their own lives. So I think it was kind of, I don't know if I'm just getting sappy, but it was kind of like a beautiful moment of reminding people that, don't just put moms into this box like, oh, she's a mom, so then everything you do outside of being a mom is a mom. Like, can I ever just be Angela? Now, again, she does mention she's a mom a lot on the feed. So, but I love that they made that a point. We saw that with Davon. I mean, Davon, when she first did the show, what was she, like 28? And she was a mom, and they were like, Mama Day. And I'm like, can she just be Davon? Can she not be Mama Day? And I think we got to a point finally where people stopped calling her that. But we see this, people feel defined as this one thing. DM Rocks, thank you so much for the first super chat of the live. DM says, hey, have you seen Matt steals Angela's food? I saw him take her White Claw and shotgun it in the bathroom, but he didn't really steal it because they were White Claws she put in the refrigerator, I believe, for everybody. So he might have thought he did that, but he didn't. But yeah, then Angela goes on the feeds and kind of ruins my whole point. But she's like, I'm a mom. I know you're lying to me. Okay, I can read your face. I'm a mom. So she ruins it. But I think the sentiment is there, and it's something that people in general, I don't even think you have to be a mom, that you can relate to. You're just put in this box or this label, and you're like, that doesn't define me, whether it be like a health thing, just anything that doesn't define you. So it's pretty cool. You love Davon. Joseph says Angela started it, but people are taking her side. If the roles were reversed and Matt did this to Angela, all hell would break loose. Oh, you mean, well, you know what I think, Joseph? I think it has a lot to do with what we're used to seeing, societal norms and in the house norms. So we're used to seeing it happen where the Matts or the Jerksons, of the world or Aquadouche are bullying women in the house or older women, or we're used to seeing that. So to see a 50-year-old mom be like, no, I'm going to call you out. I'm going to be in your face. We're like, what? We're used to kind of being held hostage every summer by one of these like toxic dude players. And so now people seeing Angela do this, it's almost like people feel like they're getting their power back. I think that's what's happening, because it's against the norm of what we see, Sonora said the feeds of Angela in bed the other evening looked like a deleted scene from Paranormal Activity. Well, did you see this one recently of Angela? This is her yesterday on the feeds out in the yard, just spread eagle, just like sunning her baby door. I don't know. But just like, I'm like, oh my God, Angela. Like she died and she's it's crazy. It's crazy. So Angela wins H of H. And then she has to decide who she's going to put up. Right away, she's like, Kenny, you're very competitive. Kenny. I kind of wish she wouldn't have went after Kenny. But then I also think maybe she saw the signs that she couldn't work with him, because Kenny seems like he wants to recreate Derek and Cody from BB16. Even in last night's episode, he's like, I'm a cop. His dad was a cop. Okay, we got something in common. And it's like, okay. And he wants to be like the older, even though Derek wasn't very old, guy with like the hot Cody type guy. Like, oh, we should partner up. Yeah, let's partner up. And I'm like, oh, boring. Bring a book. I've seen that before. No, thank you. But and then it didn't seem like Kenny was too open to working with Angela. Maybe Angela wasn't too open to working with Kenny, but you would think they would have some stuff in common. They're both the few people that are married, other than Brooklyn, who again pointed out that she's going to be the first married mother. Me and my husband were just laughing at that when she said that, because we're like, oh, that's like a thing. Like, shout out to you. Shout out to be married and a mother. But I don't think anyone was at home going, you know what I wish? I wish the married mothers had a say. Maybe there are. Put it in the chat if you were. but she's really acting like this is one of those boxes on the, diversity thing we got to check. Like, we got to be like, we need representation. And I'm like, justice for Helen. Helen could have been the first BB15 Helen. She had so much promise. Is Busy Blue in the chat? Shout out to my friend Busy Blue. Why don't I see Busy's comments? But shout out to Busy. I loved your last vlog. It was so funny. And shout out to Busy's mom, who became a nurse practitioner. And you can go over and subscribe to Busy Blue, who also covers Big Brother. And then we have a side channel together where we'll be talking about Big Brother as well. So Angela decides on Kenny. And then she's asking people, and they do like a montage of people being like, well, Lisa could go. Well, Lisa, how about Lisa? You ever thought about putting Lisa up? Put Lisa up. And I'm like, oh, poor Lisa. But like I said yesterday or the day before, in my live feed update, Lisa is not winning a ton of friends. I think she's such a fun personality to watch, but she's so LA. She's so kind of like, if it revolves around her and her orbit, she's going to be interested. And she's also, she's a lot, I would say, personality wise, probably. And I noticed just from the live feed, she wasn't picking up on certain jokes. Like, she will take things kind of literally at times and be like, yeah, you can totally put a stone in your ear. And if you fall asleep laying on your side and you fart 5 times in your sleep, and then you think about your aura and good vibes, you too could win the POV. And you're like, oh, okay. And then obviously Tucker has decided he is in a full-blown feud with her. I don't think she knows about. Because, you can't have 2 chefs in the house. And one time she took his chicken wings off the burner and he gave her 2 burners. She had 1. And she's a little bit of maybe what might be perceived as like a know-it-all. And she's definitely in her own orbit. But I kind of like that because we're getting all the different personalities. But I could see, there's Busy Blue, but I could see how, that could get annoying to people. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. But Lisa's not coming off really well. And so they're like, well, you can put Lisa up, you can put Lisa up. So that's how she gets to Lisa. And then Chemo, I just don't understand. I understand she wanted a pawn. But when you're the first HOH, don't do a pawn, okay? Because now Angela's like, I love Chemo. I could work with Chemo. Well, it's not great to put that person on the block and totally ruin any trust you had with them if you want to work with them. Probably put up people you don't think you want to work with or people you think are big threats. So the fact that she put Chemo up, and because now Chemo's just going to think, well, I was disposable to her. She thought she could just put me up and I didn't mean anything. I love it too, Kari. A lot of people are Carrie. I love it. People are calling her Kimmy Gibbler. So I think we might have to start calling her Kimmy Gibbler. She has a little more self-awareness than Kimmy Gibbler, but not always much. So she's got them through it. But Matt is busy going around the house telling everybody how she put a target on my back. She did. She said I could be in a showman. She said I was attractive. And that's why I loved Chelsea last night. Be like, oh, cry me a river, hot guy. Oh, we feel so bad for you. And he's like, oh. So then him and Angela, we finally see this conversation that we did not see on the feeds. I know some people were saying we did see it on the feeds, but I really do not think we saw it on the feeds, where Matt goes in the HOH room and he has a conversation with Angela, and he comes in with the assumption that she is going after him. And this is where we hear the threats, which we're going to see in Wednesday night's episode. This big fight, this house meeting, where Angela went and walked down the stairs. And if you missed it, I did do a parody video about it. And also in my last video, I talked about it, but she's just like clapping and everyone's like, yay, clapping. And then she's like, Matt. Oh, Matt. You sure think you did something picking on a woman twice your age, coming at me with aggressive threats. And I was like, it was so great. I wish they would have these, I wish Big Brother utilized their social media better, where they would have maybe not in addition to us watching live feeds live, like little live feed episodes where you put this whole thing unedited for people to watch if they're paying for the feeds. It was just so thank you guys for loving my parody. We're gonna have so many fun reenactments. It's gonna be so fun this season. And she went on and she didn't even let Matt barely talk. And he's like, well, what did I do? What did I do that was aggressive? And she's like, I don't want to hear from you. You're stupid. Oh, you're stupid. You know, you're not listening, idiot. She called him an idiot. She, was like, your words are shit. Put them back in your ass. Compared it to diarrhea. Like, she went off, right? I have rewatched it too because it is so, and the whole house is just like, and then she approaches him and then Matt stands up. Now, a lot of the guys, especially Tucker, in the house feel as though Matt standing up during that fight when Angela approached him was a sign of aggression that they would not do. They're like, she's a 50-year-old mother. She's a 50, Turner. Tucker is just like, yo, she's a 50-year-old mother. Who stands up like that? And he had a fist. And I don't know. I haven't went back to check to see if he had a fist made, but I did notice Matt did stand up when she approached, but then soon he kind of rested on the side. But they took that as a sign of aggression. So now Tucker's like, yeah, good. I'm not scared of that guy. I'm not scared of that guy. You think I'm scared of that guy? I'm not scared of that guy. I'm not scared of that guy. I'll take that guy down if I gotta. I ain't scared of that guy. Tucker's, the way he talks, his facials, when I was watching it with Hype Man Husband Shell, he's like, that dude was born too late. He needed to be born so he could fully appreciate those like Jim Carrey years in the 90s. The In Living Color. Let me tell you something. Fire Marshal Bill, not just Ace Ventura, but like the full Jim Carrey, because maybe he could have, I don't know. Anyway, but he's just like, I'm not, you Angela, when Angela first told him that he made her feel uncomfortable being Matt, Tucker, a lot of the guys were very protective, especially Tucker. And he was like, oh, you say the word. You say the word. I'll take that guy out. I'll take that guy out. You say the word to me. I ain't afraid of that guy. One day in my life, I ain't afraid of that guy. I ain't afraid of that little guy. And I was like, damn, Tucker. But Tucker, the way he tells it on the feeds, he's saying that he noticed on Angela's face that she felt uncomfortable in Matt's presence on multiple occasions. So, and I will say, seeing that scene, when we think outside world, we're like threats. We're like, oh my God, did he threaten to like hit her? Like, what did he threaten to do? But basically he was threatening in a game sense, is being like, well, everybody likes me. So, if you put me up, everybody likes me. But so I'll probably come off and then I'm coming after you. And she was like, oh my God, Matt, you're scaring me. Because I think it was so surprising to her because she's like, I wasn't even thinking of putting you up, bro. I was not thinking about that. I really wasn't. And now you're telling me you're going to come at me full force and you got all these people supporting you. So Matt's downfall is that as much as he's like, I'm a good guy and I'm a preacher and I did that and I know how to talk to people, because that's ever since, this fight, he's like, there's no way I did that. I professionally talked to people. I was a preacher for 4 years. I know my tone. It's like a lot of us don't know our tone. And a lot of us think, but how we're perceived by people is a whole different ball game. So you might think you're delivering it a certain way, but it's not coming off that way. And he comes off as egotistical, and he comes off as, he was holding court in the food storage room like he was the damn HOH. Right when the feed started, he was in there for like 4 or 5 hours, just holding court. And to him, he's like, no, people just want to talk to me. You were leading a lot of the conversations, Matt. He really was feeling himself. And it's something that he's admitted on the feeds, that he struggles to not be that guy. Because that's who he might have been in the past. Well, it's still creeping up. Okay. And I'm not saying Angela is like not cuckoo bananas, but he's cuckoo bananas too. And they both don't realize how they read. Because Angela's like, I'm normally not this emotional. I'm normally not this. It's like, yes, you are. It just doesn't, I understand sleep deprivation, but the minute you got in the house, you're like, oh my God, chill. You like grab Chelsea's waist. You're like, you're so cute. Look at this house. You were crying in your pre-interviews. You were crying when you got in the house. You're an emotional person, and that's okay. But I love the people who are like, no, I'm not an emotional person. And then they're like, it's this game. No, it's life. I guarantee if you talk to most people in your life, this is how you are. And that's okay. But just That's who you are. Thank you, Artist, for the super chat. Artist says, Jolene, this is going to be one of the best BB seasons, and I've watched every episode so far of every season. Yay, Artist. I'm so glad that you're loving it and you are here for the ride. Someone made a good point in here. Yes, Ramona says Matt talks too much and doesn't let others talk also. Yes, he does that, and it's annoying. And sometimes you see Leah do that. Leah does that sometimes where I'm like, I want to just be like, yay, Leah. And I think I'll get there, but it's a lot of the use of the word like, and then just so many stories. Right now, everyone's like, Leah's hilarious. But when does it become Leah doesn't let anybody else talk? Yes, we'll get to that. So so we see the fight or the threats, and so she's off put by that. So then Angela kind of goes around the house. We saw that on the feeds, and is just like, I'm upset. She spent most of the first couple days of her HOH getting reassured by the rest of the house, which I thought would be very annoying, especially when even Kenny made the point. I don't remember if this was in last night's episode or on the feeds, where it's like, oh, you feel like this is hard to put people on the block, try being on the block. And I feel Kenny in that, yeah, it's kind of like someone who's like, oh, I just have all this money and it's just so hard to figure out how to spend it. Like, am I spending it right? And it's like, oh, you feel like that. You're saying that to the person who has no money and can't pay their bills. Like, it feels very much like that. Like, yes, it's rough being the HOH, but I would argue it's far rougher to have your game put in jeopardy that you might go home in the first week. So you probably don't want to be saying that to the people you put on the block. You know what I mean? It's a little rough. So they have that, and then we see her nominations, and we also see who got the upgrades, and it was Mackenzie and Quinn. And Quinn got this crazy upgrade. Mackenzie's is okay. It's, America's veto, where for the next 4 weeks she can take anyone off the block, and then America selects the replacement nominee, not the HOH. While Quinn has this like deep fake HOH. It's like, tell us you love Quinn the most without telling us you love Quinn the most. Like, wow. And I can just tell from last night's episode, and there's lots to love about Quinn. Quinn is pretty great. When I saw at first when they cast him, I'm like, oh, this is Turner 2.0. And at first Turner was like, okay. Actually, Turner got better, I think, as the season progressed. And then, it was back and forth with Turner. But I think Quinn is, although stylistically, aesthetically, they're kind of the same. And a little bit with their, take on life. I think Quinn is just so much more likable. And the house guests are just in love with Quinn. And so Quinn gets this crazy power where for the next 4 weeks at any time, he can basically take over the HOH, like a secret invisible HOH, and then make them null and void, pick the new nominees. No one will know about it. They're going to have an AI generated person created who looks just like the current HOH, give the information. So it's just like this crazy thing. Yes, I love how Octavia says, America means production. Y'all, let's be real. Yeah, production. For real. Yeah, he's great. He's quirky. He's funny. He seems a little self-deprecating. Someone who doesn't take himself too seriously. He had a great Halloween blouse he was wearing. So he gets this. He's in a really good position right now. But how long until people are like, people really like Quinn a lot. Quinn's. And then last night he was shaving and everyone was like, who is this? Was his hair back and shaving and the glasses off? We were like, is this a new person? Because a lot of people are speculating. So now we'll go more into the episode's over, blah, blah, blue. Okay, great. A lot of people are speculating that Tucker, who has a twin, allegedly, is switching out with his twin. That is just mere speculation. And certain people are catching clips on the feeds where they think Tucker's implying that, like, oh, now I got to switch or something. But fun fact as well, T-Core has a twin that she was talking to Joseph about last night before bed on the feeds. They had a whole conversation about her sister. She has a younger sister and she has a twin sister. And I was like, oh, I mean, that switching out T-Core and switching out Tucker for their twins. You have a double twin twist. I don't think that's happening. But sometimes I wonder, because sometimes Tucker is just like, I hate Matt. I hate Lisa. And then sometimes he's a little calmer. But I don't know. I feel like that's not the case that he has a twin, but interesting that they have a lot of, yeah, right, Colleen? I was surprised, but listening to the feeds late last night before they're going to bed, and they're in the floating rock bedroom, and she was talking to Joseph, and Joseph was asking about her family. And Joseph's like, I don't really talk to my family that much, but I think I'm going to now because they live close. Now, being in here and hearing you guys talk about your family, I think I'm taking them for granted. And I was like, that's nice, Joseph. But then T-Core was talking about, thank you, Carolyn, for becoming a member. Welcome. Then T-Core was talking about her twin, and I'm like, twin? No, I don't know if they're identical. I don't know, but we'll see. Cammie says, and Leah could all, what if everyone's a freaking twin? It's a deep fake, or they're just AI generated. I don't know. Okay. So let's get into Angela. So Angela, so we know obviously Lisa, the spoilers, Lisa won the POV. She's gonna take herself off the block. I think the feeds are still down, which I picked a perfect time to go live, you guys. I think I'm gonna keep this 11 a.m. Pacific going forward for my daily, whether it be my No Offense, All Offense, or my Big Brother or No Offense, All Offense with Big Brother updates, to get on a schedule again, or attempt to. So I'm going to try it. So you guys let me know if you like that, just so you know when I'm going live, because sometimes I'm like, surprise. I do like to do my surprise lives, but I would like you guys to be able to be like, okay, Jolene's going to go live at 11 Pacific, but let's be real. 11:08, 11:10 a.m. Pacific. With my ADHD time blindness, I'm like, oh shit, I'm supposed to be live right now. And you guys are so sweet. And I love that you don't make me feel bad about it. And thank you for understanding that. So Lisa wins the POV. Lisa told in court, it's like Lisa now is HOH, because Lisa has been hyping up Angela. Like Angela, Angela's just crying. She finally got some sleep, allegedly. I don't think she got any good sleep though, because she's still crying and but that's just how she is, So all day yesterday, she's got her mom jean shirt on. I love it. It just reminds me of every commercial audition I used to go to. They'd be like, don't forget to wear your mom top. And it was always a jean shirt. Like, and every photo shoot and stuff is like, okay, you're doing your mom pick, so you got to put that jean shirt on. So she's walking around. She's talking to Lisa early. She's already crying. Lisa's kind of given a lot of people some game, advice, which is crazy because she wasn't barely talking game. Nobody liked her. She got put on the block. But after winning this POV, it did make her start to play. So now she's like, I pretty much I know everything about this game, and everything was meant to be. And this was supposed to happen. This was supposed to happen so that I could rise to greatness and be the POV. So I'm like, get it, Lisa. Get it, Lisa. And so she is, crying. And then she's got to talk to Matt. So her and Matt have a conversation. They haven't spoken since the big blow up, and they go in the bathroom, and it was a painful conversation because it was so, and someone asked me 2 days ago, does Matt remind you of Jackson Mickey, aka Jerkson, from the season we don't talk about, BB21, but I always talk about? And I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to say that. In this conversation, yes. This guy was, the way he was presenting it to Angela, no matter who's in the wrong, I think there's something to be said for kind of respecting your elders. I get if they don't respect you, whatever. But don't try to tell someone who's twice your age, as she reminds you, how to live her life. It just comes off very patronizing. It comes off very ego-driven, very Mr. Know-It-All. And then, thank you, Callie. Welcome to the YouTube membership. Thank you for the support. And then he's like, you know why? It hurt me that you brought up my mom. And it's like, well, technically, I think he brought up his mom. She did talk about in that fight being old enough to be his mom. And then he brought up, well, my mom's going to see this. And she's like, yeah, and she'll be disappointed because she raised a brat. And then he cried about that. He was just so upset because he's like, my mom's done so much for me. And I, when I was young, my mom, I'm a first generation, which shout out to first generation. I love to see that representation. My husband's first generation, so it's a very different path than Angela's. So him pointing out they have very different paths in life, great, fantastic, so true, so 100% true. But then he really felt like he was milking his mom's story, and we've heard Matt on the feeds previously say, yeah, I mean, they being production, and then they're like, you are not allowed to talk about production. They were like, I have a great story. I didn't even know I had a great story until I was going through the process, and they were all like, oh my God, your story's amazing. And I'm like, okay. So apparently, his mom is Filipino. His mom came over here, and she, worked so hard to put him through college, and she like has worked at Chick-fil-A. I think he said maybe with his auntie or something. For all these years working the drive-through, like she's like famous in his town in Georgia, and she always put the kids first, and it really is that first generation experience of people coming over to this country and wanting a better life, that American dream, wanting a better life for their kids, wanting a better life for them, and working so damn hard. And him sharing that, which that's a beautiful story, I love to hear it, but what does this have to do with? It felt like he was just doing the most with it. It's like, okay, thank you. And now my mama sits like, I think your mom's gonna be okay. I think she's, it's not like, I mean, she said he's a brat. And yes, I could see that he's like, she did so much for me. So that would hurt a little, but I feel like he's really, really stretching for some of these points. I mean, it is good to point out to Angela, my experience is different than yours. Yes, 100%. Everyone in the house comes from their own, place and stuff. But then he was talking about, and then in 9th grade, I was just like skipping school, like being bad and not listening to my mom. And she was working so hard for me. And then I think his principal, he said, when he was in 9th grade, started having like morning meetings with him at 6 a.m. And they would read the Bible. And I'm like, did he go to private? If you went to private school, fine. But if that's a public school, that might be a little interesting. Okay. And so then he, found God, even though God was never missing. He's always been around. It was like a Julie Chen story. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Love one another, So he's like, so then I did that every morning. And then I went on to go to, he went to school for like theology, got his master's, maybe seminary. I don't know. And then he was a pastor for 4 years. And it's like, okay, cool, buddy. I'm so glad. That's fantastic. Great. I'm so glad that made you a better person. Awesome. Great. But he's like kept kind of preaching to Angela as she's like, I'm really sorry. She does this. She'll be like, I'm really sorry. Oops. And then she'll do it again. Like, oops, I did it again. Jeff said my principal dated my English teacher. That sounds more like the school I went to, because nobody I was having me read the Bible. I did go to 1 year private school, and then we did that, but interesting. So she's like, sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Your mom's probably a wonderful person. Oh my God. What's her name? And he's like, I forget her name. She has a really pretty name. It's like Homile or something. And she's like, omelet? Homile. Omelet? Homelet, omelet, omelet. Like, it was just this funny back and forth where she kept being like, how do I pronounce that in white Utah lady? And I get it, because my mom struggles with my in-laws, and my father-in-law's name is Manuel. And my mom was like, Manuel. It's those thick Midwestern tongues we have. It's hard for me too sometimes with certain, to say my own husband's name. When we were dating, it took me a couple months. I was calling him Shell, like a seashell, and it's Chell, but there's a silent X in front of his name. And I'm like, I don't know. When I'm like, oh, it's a beautiful Mayan name. But I was like, I couldn't say it. So I get it. But she's like, Homelet? He's like, Homelet. Omelet? Denver omelet? Like, no. Okay. All right. We're done here. So she's like, omelet. I'm so sorry that I did that. And I'm like, I'm sure omelet's fine. Homelet. Shout out to Matt's mom. Beautiful story. But then he didn't shut up about it. He was just like, and then he was basically, now you're going to apologize to the house. And she's like, I'm going to apologize to the house. But I think what you should do is you should do it about me. So you should do a public apology where you bring up my mom. Omelette. Omelette? Yes. Talk about Omelette and say, I'm so sorry, Omelette, for what I did. And so he has her, and I'm sitting there rolling my eyes so hard. He's like, and then you'll go in front of the house, and then you'll apologize, and then you'll basically absolve me of these crimes you've put on me of being in a showmance and being a sexy showmance, and also you called me an idiot. And she's like, I did. I called you an idiot. He's like, you said I was full of shit. I do say that. I do say that. Yeah. And you didn't. Okay. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't. And he's just like, you know what I think would help you in the future? And I'm like, oh. When anyone says that to me, I immediately turn off. When someone says, you know what I think you should do? No, don't, especially when a fetus. If a fetus, young little Matt guy is going to tell me how I should, I'm like, sir, you're going to have to clock in some more hours. You're going to have to get a little more time under your belt. Okay. You're still in the internship of life. I understand. I love that the youth can bring a very perspective view, and you can definitely share your ideas and your thoughts. But when you think you're going to coach me, you know what you should do? You should grow up. You should get a little older. You should get some wrinkles. Okay. You should have some, lose a job, get a job, anything else. Okay. Unless I want to get abs and I'm your age, you can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. It's just like, you can't tell Angela nothing. So I was like, this dude. And he just kept doing it. And it was so long. And so she's like, yeah, okay. And they're kind of going back and forth. And then they put a bow on it. Everything was put a bow on it. Let's stop that. We talked about, we should put a bow on it. We're going to put a bow on it. But then they would bring it up. Should we hug? Let's hug. So they could like stop talking about the actual fight and move on from it. Maybe we could work together in the future. He's like, I'm going to have to think about it. I'm like, take the thing she's offering at this point. She's still the HOH, Matt. This is how cocky this dude is. He's like, I don't know. I'll have to think about it. Think about it. Take the apology, even if you're not really sorry, and just say the words so that you can get further in the game. He's like, well, I'm going to need, you don't want to put me on the block. And she's like, well, I kind of had to put you on the block because I already said I was going to put you on the block. I have a reason to put you on the block. I don't want to. He's like, you shouldn't. You know what you should do? You should put someone else on the block. Yeah. How about then he was throwing out suggestions. I'm like, is this dude okay? Like, what's happening here? He's like, how about T-Core or Tucker? I'm like, first of all, Tucker already hates you because you interrupted him during a dump. And he's already team Angela about any situation with you. So no. And also T-Core, I felt so bad for T-Core because one of the first people he ran to when he was crying about his mommy was T-Core. And T-Core sat there and listened to him. She was so patient. It was so beautiful. And then when Angela came in, after the fight into the floating rock room while they're talking about this, and she laid on the bed and she was just very like, almost like it was like intimidating. You know, she's like, oh, you guys are in my room. Laid down, and he's crying, and T-Core's consoling him. T-Core goes, Angela, we're going to need a minute. And Angela goes, I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry. She did one of those where you know what someone said, but you just don't like what they said. So she's like, Angela, can you give us a minute? And Angela was like, I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, who? I'm sorry, what? Was that English? I'm sorry. Did you, who? Me? Huh? She's like, can you give us a minute? We're talking. And Angela's like, oh, for you, T-Core. For you. But not for him. For you. So Angela was like, okay, for you, I will give you a minute. So then she leaves. So T-Core really had his back. And then he decides to throw her under the bus. Like, why would she put T-Core up? At this point, how would that benefit her game at all? You dum-dum. So then she's like going back at him. She's like, well, the only way, and maybe you can help me with this, okay, I will put someone else up, is if you convince them to be a pawn. Yeah. Because, you know, you're not going home. Everyone's going to vote for you. He's like, yeah, I'm not going home. And my argument to him would be, well, if you're not going home and you know you got the votes, well, then we can definitely put you up because it doesn't matter. But to them, they're like, no, he's like, it's a moot point at this point. Because if I'm not going to go home, you're wasting your thing. It's like, no, you're not actually wasting. Angela and you had a fight. You thought that she was coming for you. She wasn't, even though she said some things you didn't like. And then you went up in the room and were like, you come for me? I'll take myself off. Everyone else will take me off. And then I'm coming for you. So then she felt threatened. So you guys are never going to see eye to eye in this moment. She's got to put you up. It's just the natural progression. Why would she get more blood on her hands? Why would she piss off more people when she can just put you up? And if you're so safe, then you'll be safe. If you got all these friends, which I don't think you do. But the thing is, she feels like he is a bigger deal and a bigger influence in the house. And she feels as though he has more pull than he actually has. And so she's built him up to be like this god in the house, and he most certainly is not. And then he kind of thinks of himself as a god. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Nana, aka my mom. Hi, Nana. Nana's in the chat. Oh, she's with her girlfriends. I thought so. I hadn't heard from you. And I said, I think she's at Laura's, so I'm gonna just let her have fun. But I'll call you later, Nana. We love you. So she's like, well, if you convince people to be a pawn, and he's like, okay, maybe, yeah, maybe. I'm like, who in their right mind is gonna be like, I'll be a pawn for you, Matt? What are you talking about? So they finally end their conversation. They put the final bow on it. And then Angela goes upstairs to the HOH room and starts cam talking. Thank God, because it's cuckoo. And she's letting us in on that, brain of hers. And then Matt goes and takes his shirt off somewhere in the house and hangs up. Now, she sees him talking to T-Core and she assumes he's talking about trying to get her to be a pawn. And she's like, oh my God, girl. Oh my God. So then Angela's on the feeds watch. She's like, oh, I know exactly what he's doing. I know exactly what's happening. And she does not exactly know what's happening. I know exactly what he's doing. I know exactly what's happening. Oh my God. Oh, he's doing it. Oh my God. He's approaching people to be a pawn. Oh my God. This guy, he's risking other people's games. Oh. So then T-Core comes upstairs. Cam comes upstairs to check on her. And she wants to say something, but she doesn't. And then she just has a brief conversation. They're just checking on her. Angela, you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. I got some sleep. I'm so much better. I've only cried 7 times today. I'm so great. I'm great. I'm so fantastic. Okay, bye. And then she's like, oh my God, that poor girl. She came up here to check because she knows that she's being put. I'm putting her. We're going to use her as a. Oh my God, I can't believe it. And Cam went back to, and he's okay with it. Oh, Cam. And I'm thinking, Cam didn't do anything of the sort. Cam's actually checking on you. So she thinks she knows, and she's like, oh my God, I can't wait to tell Lisa. She ultimately tells Lisa, I took your advice and I am going to apologize, but here's what I added in, okay? That I will not use him as a pawn, or I will use him, not put him on the block if he can find someone else to go up as a pawn that I can use. So he has to find it. So I'm just like putting salt in his game, and I'm like, oh, but it was so funny watching Angela on the feeds telling us like, oh my God, I know what's happening. And it was in fact not what was happening. Ultimately, Matt does approach Tucker and tries to tell Tucker about this, maybe putting him or a pawn or T-Core, and Tucker's pissed. He ends up, I think, telling Cam about it in the have-not room. And Tucker's just like, can you believe this guy? I can't even believe this guy's coming in. Okay, I can't believe this guy. He comes up to me, right? And he's like, listen, Tucker. Okay, listen, Tucker. He don't even know what a pawn is. He just put me up. You talking to me? You gonna put me up on the block? I was like, this dude gotta go. He does not know what I come with. Okay. And then Cam's like, yeah, I mean, I knew we would have other guys in the house are good at physical comps and stuff going. Tucker's like, to me? Talking to me? And I was like, maybe T-Core. And then Cam's like, well, why T-Core? And he's like, well, I don't know. What are you going to put? Don't come in. Like, this dude doesn't even know what he's doing. He don't even know what he's doing. I'm like, is this dude for real? Is he for real? So Tucker's got his bucket hat on, and he is just upset. And he is, I love how you're calling him, I don't know if that's a spelling error, but a Turker. Turker is what he is. But he's just so, when he gets in his element and he just puts those shows up, he's like, is he really coming? He's not coming. I'm like, this dude you don't know. Okay, I will throw down in them competitions. Okay, I used to be a model, and I was the first model that got to go to Spain with my agency, or Italy, Milan for Fashion Week with Calvin Klein, but he don't know. I'll tear his ass down. Now he gotta go. He's gotta go. Is he coming at me? Are you talking to me? So now Matt put a huger target on his back. Tucker's pissed. And it was just feed wonderfulness to see them all kind of talking. And then we have Angela goes outside. Angela's like, it's so hot. I don't think I can be outside. It's so hot. And then we see Angela doing what I think a lot of us middle-aged women do with the heat now. And you're either menopause, perimenopause, and you're just like, Calgon, take me away. Lord, take me. She's airing out her baby door. Her boobs are probably sweating because that's what happens once you get in your 40s, 50s. It's just like your tits are running a marathon 24/7. So she's like, oh, I'm so hot. So she's talking to Kenny and Matt again. They're on the hammock and they're, just being Derek and Cody wannabes. she comes up and she's like, oh, the sun's beating on me. It's just like, oh, I gotta get out of the sun. And she's talking to them, but you can tell she's like, she doesn't love this conversation or the way they're talking to her. And again, Matt's like, I never thought of that. Oh, I never thought that you guys are married and you're like, you don't have your other person. So like your other person, like your wife or your husband who you check in with, like, that's a great point. Yeah. And so Kane's like, yeah, it really meant a lot for me when you come up to me, just putting your hand on my shoulder, just putting your hand because I'm an undercover cop, just touching me. You know, like I know what you don't even got to talk about it, but just saying it. And I'm like, okay, cool. So Angela ultimately ends up talking to the cameras and she's like, best performance of my life. So everything Angela did in the conversation with Matt, at first I'm thinking, is she really placating to this man? Is she really going to go and blow up her game again to the house and be like, I'm sorry, such a good man. Shout out to his mom, Omelet. You did such a good job with this beautiful man. Because Angela won't stop mentioning, like, you're beautiful. And during their fight, she said that you may be beautiful on the outside, but it doesn't matter when you're ugly on the in. And he's like, you know, so it was a whole thing. But so she was like, best performance of my life. And I'm like, so she was playing him during that conversation. So she's still on this crazy like roller coaster ride with herself of she again is like, I got sleep. I'm totally fine. But she thinks she knows what's going on in the game. And she doesn't necessarily, similar to Matt. Matt thinks he knows what's going on in the game. He don't know. Neither of them know what's going on, which is making it so freaking entertaining. So there was lots of speculation, you know, throughout the day, like, will Angela put Matt up? And then Matt mentioning this pawn situation, him getting her talking about the pawn, and she'll put someone else up if they offer to be a pawn next to Kenny and next to Chemo. And it was just, and her admitting that she was acting, it was like, oh my God. So Nora, do you know Tucker? Tuck is exactly the same person in real life as he is on the show. I thought I was not gonna like Tucker. I was like, ugh, Tucker. But I'm actually really enjoying him on the feeds. You know, he's got some hateration in him. He's got, you know, but I feel like I would be that way in the house. Like I would, you guys know me. I'm a Judge Judy. So I'd be in the house, I'd be like, nah, I don't like that one. And the other, just one thing, I'd be like, I don't like him. And I would find it hard, the Aquarius in me, to hide it as well. Because I'm like, But okay, so he is very much entertaining me, Sonora. Very much just, and he always does this. He's always like, do you think this guy's gonna come at? He thinks he's gonna come at me. This guy don't know. He don't. I might be sexy and got a six pack, but you know, I could throw down. I mean, just this, whatever this. He was very influenced by Jim Carrey. You can tell. Yeah, my initial like Big Brother biases coming in, and I see the cute guys with the six packs and stuff. I'm like, oh, great. Or when someone says, I'm funny, I'm like, ugh, especially when a man just says they're funny, and you're like, okay, awesome, thank you. But I'm enjoying him. I am enjoying him. So yeah, I need a bucket hat for Tucker. He was wearing the same bucket hat, or wearing a bucket hat, and so was Chelsea. And he's like, well, I guess I gotta change. And my favorite thing about Tucker is that he's pissed at Matt because Matt talked to him while he was taking a dump. Like people are like, why would Tucker? You would think the bros would like each other. Like the ab bros always ab out on the show. But Tucker's like, I can't stand that dude. No, I can't. And he's like, he tried to talk to me when he was taking a dump. I wish I would play like Sari, Brianna. That would be my goal, but I'm not patient enough. Sari has a patience of a saint. I have zero tolerance for a lot of BS, and I don't always read the BS right. I mean, I do a lot of times because I'm an Aquarius, no offense. But yeah. Thank you, sister. I appreciate it. Colleen, yes, the Aquarius. It's strong. It's strong in us. So this dynamic between Matt and Angela, I almost don't want it to end, but I kind of do want to send men ooh, Freudian slip. Sorry. Matt packing, you know, on Monday, because I'm so over that, like the cocky trope, the cocky archetype, like okay, cool. We got Cocky McCockerson, whose major adversity in life is that people just think I'm just sexy. I'm so much more than sexy. I'm also patronizing, So shout out to Omelette. So there was lots of talk throughout the day of, what Angela will do. I didn't get to watch any feeds this morning because I was running around taking the dogs to the park, running errands with Hype Man husband Chell. But the feeds are down for the POV. I think, Joseph, a lot of the other house guests who do talk to Angela, even though Angela was like, I think he's blowing smoke up my ass. Like, it's like, he's not. And then Matt accused Joseph of being the reason that she started that fight. And we did see in last night's episode, Joseph did go to Angela to confide in her when Matt was going to everyone saying, Angela said this about me. Angela doesn't like me. But Joseph wasn't like, yeah, you should go downstairs, do a weird slow clap, and then just start attacking Matt in front of the house on, his character and saying how he threatened you and tell him he's full of shit and diarrhea and that he's an idiot. Joseph didn't. No, he didn't say that. So, but then Matt, again, like we talked about previously, after being accused of threatening someone, he decides to then go threaten someone. He's like, I don't do that. I don't threaten people. And then he went and like threatened Joseph. Like, Joseph, if you were the reason that she was talking about my mom, God help, I can't roll with that. And I was like, okay. So we'll see what happens there. But we do see there's quite a few people in the house who are just over Matt. I think Matt, his real people they are going back and forth with being over Angela too, especially Cedric. I mean, Cedric cried the other night because he thought Angela was in front of him talking about him being disrespectful. Really, she was talking about Matt. She's like, no, baby, I love you, baby. Baby, no, baby. You would never, I love you. And Cedric's, I think the emotional roller coaster that Angela's on is rubbing off on little 21-year-old Cedric. So then Cedric was talking to Joseph, like, is the commission, is that what they are? Their alliance, you guys? Because there's more alliances. We learned even that the BB guns, which I was so surprised that Big Brother in last night's episode let them use the name BB guns, because with the whole GUNS, you can't barely even say that on YouTube. I'll probably get demonetized now for saying that, and they'll be like, we have to review your content. But there's lots of little alliances that are popping up. We got the barber shop now. We had the collective. Thank you, the collective. And then we had the Pentagon, which Chelsea, Cedric, Cam, Brooklyn, and I got to pull up my little thing I made. They were saying that is the real one. The collective was just the big 8-person alliance that Angela was in. It's just one of those alliances they want to make early on. The collective was Cam, Cedric. Let me pull up my graphic here. It was Cam. Oh, where is it? Okay. Cam, Cedric, Joseph, Angela, T-Core, Chelsea, Chemo, and Quinn. The Pentagon, which they were saying Cam, Chelsea, and Cedric were saying is their real alliance, their real core, is just 5 of them, which Cam, Chelsea, Cedric, Quinn, and Brooklyn, all of which are in the collective minus Brooklyn. And now they have the barbershop, and I think that is Matt, Mackenzie, I forget who else is in the barbershop, you guys. I got to revisit it. Yeah, the Pentagon's going to be strong under the radar because you got Cam, who is still, well liked by everyone. Cam is, his social game is like charming. He is talking a little game to people, and like Tucker really trusts him and stuff. And then you got Cedric. Cedric's in everything. Like, Cedric is a mover and a shaker in this game. Joseph, Angela, T-Core, Chelsea, who is also a mover and a shaker and in everything, Chemo, and Quinn, and most of them then go on. The 4 of them, Cam, Chelsea, Cedric, Quinn, go into the Pentagon and then add Brooklyn. So they are pretty strong. Rusty Toddler, I'm so glad you made it live. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. So then there's the barber shop, and yeah. So these alliances are still popping up, So Cedric was talking with Joseph, like, so what are we gonna do about Angela? Like, what's wrong with Angela? What are we gonna do about Angela? And Joseph's like, well, we're just, even though Angela had this very public freak out and called a house meeting and kind of Devoned herself in a way but much more entertaining, even though Devin's was entertaining, but I just wanted Devin to go. I think Joseph is like, okay, yeah, but like, let's just keep the collective strong because it's still numbers and power. And as far as we can, like right now, it's a crazy week, 500 in the live chat. Make sure you hit that like, you guys. It's a crazy week. Let's just keep going forward and just try our best. But Cedric was very much like, no, she's like losing it and she's coming after people she's aligned with and she's like accusing you of stuff. I don't know if that's a good idea. And Joseph's like, well, for now, we'll just play it cool. We'll play it cool. So they definitely had that conversation. So there's people that feel uncomfortable by Angela because you just don't know at this point where her mood's going to take her, where her emotions are going to take her. And if she's going to turn on people that are actually really good allies to her, like similar to what she did with Joseph. Yes, Pomegranate. Pomegranate says she's lucky people aren't keen on Matt or she'd be in more trouble, big trouble. If they were keen on Matt, like a regular season of Big Brother, where we seem the house guests seem to get misted by the abs and the ego, a la Jerkson, and the bros stick together, she would be in trouble. But this season is different, and I think Angela's a little different too. Obviously, Molly says I want to love Chelsea, but her love for Candace Owen. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, interesting. Okay, I wouldn't expect that. Oh, I'll have to, if you don't mind citing your source, because I'm like, what? No way. But if you tag me on Twitter or Instagram, Pamela says, now I can't unsee Tucker as Jim Carrey. You can't. You cannot. It is so there, Pamela B. What did you say? Avaria says, why does Angela remind me of Damon from Game of Dragons or whatever that Angela remind you of Damon? Is that the newest dragon show? My husband watches it. I watched a couple episodes. Big sissy banana. I mean, kind of. I need Matt and Angela to stay for drama. I will say this showmance that's waiting to happen between Angela and Matt, I think that I saw a lot of tweets on this, and I think they're probably scrambling like, we got to save Matt because we want the showmance. But I know not everyone might like this showmance but there's another showmance, I think, on the horizon, and it's early stages, but I see the chemistry, and that is between Quinn and Leah, possibly. So showmances, you never know. Joseph and Angela could get together. I mean, she's married, so hopefully not her poor husband, but you just don't know in this game. And you don't know with Angela. Maybe her and Matt will be with, oh my God, what a turn that would be. That went through my head yesterday as they were talking, and they just have this like, I don't know. It's just, I'm just in my weird comedian mind about it, but I'm like, what a turn that would be. And just coming off Scandal and Vanderpump Rules, that those two all of a sudden, I'd be like, oh my God. But I think I like Kenny, I don't know what I'm talking about. Right? Calling him beautiful. It was like, I thought that yesterday, Jeff. I was like, what if Kenny and Angela like miss their spouses and they end up in bed all of Christmas in Memphis? And we're like, oh my God. Oh, Elle, that's so good. Thank you so much. Says I haven't watched BB for a while. I started watching again after I seen your funny Angela video. Oh, that's so sweet of you. I'm glad you liked it. Angela, that's what my husband said. My husband's like, oh, he's reminding her of someone in her past, and she's like, she got a little bit of because the way she was so passive aggressively, like being like, yeah, I mean, yeah, this is gonna happen. You're gonna, and she's like, what? Shut up. Like in the episode, I'm like, oh my God, thank you, Vaughn. I appreciate that. So who knows? You never know. But I will say Matt and Mackenzie together. Oh my God. On the feeds, they stay up super late. They're both just annoying. It's really hard to watch, especially when all the cameras are on them. Luckily, last night they were cutting off of them, but sometimes they were cutting them when they were talking about game stuff. And I was like, come on. And there are just moments like we need to keep the count going for how long until Mackenzie gets officially canceled by BB Twitter and everybody, because she was doing, he was talking about his mom to her and her accent. And she's already done like, tried to do almost like what people would call a black scent in the house. And people have called her out on Twitter. And then she was like oh, your mom talks like this. That's her accent. Oh my God. And then she like started, like she was going to mimic it. Cause I think she's just like a mimicker and she's going to mimic the accent. And then Matt was like, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. She's like, oh my God, yeah, it's funny that you think I was gonna do that. I was like, girl, you were gonna do the accent. So she was gonna do like a Filipino mom accent, this like white chick from Texas. I was like, oh girl, BB Twitter is gonna light you up if you do those accents. This no longer are the days where, you know, you can do that shit. So I was like, we need like a timer, a countdown. Emily, no, I know Kenny wouldn't do that. I'm just saying these crazy thoughts go through my mind. Let's see what you guys are saying. Chemo says, our NYC Girl Forever says, Chemo isn't talking enough. He had an army begging for him to open his mouth. With T-Core yesterday, he had a million chances, didn't do it. And then he made everyone in Have Not Miserable with snoring. Well, him and Cam were snoring to the point where Tucker woke up and he was like, oh man, I gotta make some tea. Like it's just, these dudes are like snoring. They're like snoring their ass off. I can't even sleep. It's like I'm right in the middle of a snore sandwich. Oh my God. And he got stuck then with Mackenzie and Matt in the bathroom. And Mackenzie's like, want me to run some water? And he's like, yeah, I'm okay. But we know, like, don't interrupt him. Don't interrupt Tucker when he's pooping. He is. Octavia says, Chemo's a big flop for me. I hate that because I am so drawn to Chemo as a person in the show. I feel like he's one of the reasons that reminds me of BB Can. It's like a BB Can type casting. And I feel like, yeah, he's got so much potential. But again, he's starting slow and quiet, which obviously isn't good. He's on the block. But I hate to be like, I see potential, but I do see potential with him. But yeah, I wish he would speak up more. And he's just playing back on his heels so much. And again, it could be because I know I'm Tucker. It could be, bruh. Because, you know, his mom was like, don't let them borrow your clothes. And Chemo's like, what? I kind of wish they would have cast Chemo and his mom. How sweet. Like that was the one thing she's worried about going in this house, going on a national television show with live feeds. She was like, don't let them wear your clothes. So maybe there was more. I was telling my husband last night, maybe there was more to it. Because every time we see Chemo, we're like, don't let anyone wear your clothes. Maybe she was like, don't give them your thoughts and opinions. Don't share how you feel. Don't be vulnerable. Don't talk game. Maybe. Thank you, Pomegranate, for the super chat. I appreciate that. And yes, DGF, shout out to my mods. Let's get to 400 likes, 500 in the chat. Let's see if we can hit 400. So, P. Scott, that's an interesting point. Didn't Michael on Taylor's season, didn't Michael kind of do the same thing? I don't remember how soon Michael won a comp, though. I don't think he was this quiet as Chemo, though. I don't think he was this quiet. I think Chemo's really, it took me a while on the feeds. I didn't hear from Cam. I didn't hear from Chemo, and I didn't hear from T-Core. And I'm like, are they in the house? And especially Cam and Chemo. I was like, where the heck is Chemo? What's going on? Aren't they just down for the POV ceremony, Joseph? Joseph said the feeds have been down for 90 minutes, and I'm worried. Again, I didn't tune into any feeds this morning. The last feeds I watched was like almost 3 a.m., I think. And then I just slept and then ran errands. But aren't they just down for the POV ceremony? But Joseph's saying the feeds have been down for 90 minutes, and I'm worried something happened. Hopefully not. If Angela self-evicts, I'm going to self-evict this season. Like, we need her for a little while longer. Amalesh, thank you for the super chat. Says, assisted my dad in a complicated surgery today, and your live is my post-adrenaline rush relaxation therapy. Yay. And shout out to you assisting in surgery, just doing the Lord's work, as they say, while we're over here just talking shit. But glad we could be a post-adrenaline rush relaxation I can't even talk therapy. Yeah, POV. So Katie says, I miss Izzy. Right? Michael was a comp piece. He won one of the, I think early on he won very, very early on. So unfortunately, but Chemo just seems like such a freaking delight. Like even in last night's episode, I was like, oh, he's just But I don't know. He's someone that, you don't see that on the show too much, but he's someone that was like, I would be real life friends with him. Callie, thank you for becoming a new member. Liz Reeves, thank you so much for the super sticker. I just want to make sure I got, I saw all of yours. Pamela says, now I can't unsee. Yes. And thank you for the super chat. I think I already highlighted that one, but just in case, you guys are so appreciated. Yeah, we're just assuming the POV ceremony, and it probably is taking a long time because who knows what Angela's going to say during the ceremony. And, it seemed like she was leaning again in the way of Matt, but there were talks about, obviously her putting up T-Core or putting out Tucker or putting out some kind of another pawn. It's like, no, Angela, just don't get more blood on your hands. Put Matt on the block. If he doesn't go home, he doesn't go home. He said he's coming for you anyways. It's not going to change whether you put him on the block or not. He's not going to forget this. That's not going to be what happens. He's going to want to exact his revenge. So just do it. So just do it already. Cutloy says it's the first veto ceremony. It usually takes extra long. Yeah, because they have to, sometimes when the feeds come back and they don't mean to, or sometimes we'll see feeds where they're actually going through. We've had through the years, a POV ceremony or a nomination, and it's like, okay, do it again. Okay, walk back, do it again, and to deliver the lines and all that. So it is probably more on the first one and the production. So yes, RT, put up Matt, Angela, put up Matt. So those are my thoughts on last night's episodes, the live feed spoilers, our roast and recap. You guys have been so fantastic, beautiful little pumpkin spice babies. Gina B, again, thank you for sending me such lovely gifts to my P.O. box. Again, the information for that is in the description if you ever have a small business or anything you want to promote, or you ever want to send me anything. It's there. Shout out to all my super chatters today and new members on the side with TLC. Thank you for being a member for 34 months. Carolyn, welcome to the membership. DM Rocks, thank you for the super chat. Artist, thank you for the super chat. Callie Reader, thank you so much for becoming a new member. Liz, thank you for the super sticker. Rusty Toddler, thank you for the super chat. Pamela B, thank you for the super chat. Pomegranate, thank you for the super sticker. And Amalesh, thank you for the super chat. You guys are so incredibly fun and sweet, and I appreciate all your support. Hit that like on your way out, and please comment on the video, because I don't get to all of your comments in the chat. And so I love when you guys leave comments after the video post, because then I get to see what you were thinking and what you think about this season. And it's such an interactive show. I want to hear what you guys have to say, not just what I have to say. Also, follow me on social media at Joleen Lunzer on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, where I'm posting some other BB and pop culture comedy type content there. Thank you, DJ. Shout out to all of my beautiful, wonderful mods. Thank you for your help in the chat, you guys. And I'll be back very soon with another video. Again, I'm going to try to go forward weekdays at 11 a.m. Pacific. So mark your calendars and make sure you have your you smash the bell so you get notifications when I do go live. And you guys, like I always say, enjoy yourself, because it's later than you think. Bye.
If you like what